I need to move my car because um, we're here at the Starbucks as per usual, and Julian is inside the Starbucks on his computer. Oh, here he comes. No, no, he's going to his car. Okay, and he had the ability to start the show on his end, and I was like waiting, and so I drove my car up to go inside and tell him, "Hey, bro, you got to turn this thing on." So he's in his car now. I was just telling them that I had to remind you to start it. I can see your little guy there. I don't know. We can't hear you if you're trying to talk. Can you guys hear me? Confirm that you can hear me, because I think my audio still might be connected to my car. We're not that tech savvy over here. So somebody give me the thumbs up or some sort of acknowledgement that you can hear.
You're
Okay,
good.
thank
I hear
you.
you. You're good.
Thank
You're
you.
good.
Okay, good.
My bad. My
I'm
bad.
gonna park. I'm gonna park and not crash into this lady. Okay, and then we'll get started. So good morning. It is December. What is it? December 16th. We are 9 days out from Christmas. I still have an Amazon cart full of stuff that I need to order for my children. How are you guys doing with that kind of stuff? I feel like this pressure to fill their stockings and have like a certain number of gifts and stuff. And I don't know if everybody feels that way at this time of year. Um, but I definitely do. So I've got a lot of books and things like that in my cart that I still need to push order. My mom, I was talking to my mom the other day and she said, I don't know how I did it because I have 5 siblings. She's like, I don't know how I did it with 6 of you and no Amazon. And I was like, well, in a way, was it easier because you go to the toy store and whatever's there is there. Like there's not so many options. Or we made the mistake that our kids know about Amazon. And so they're constantly asking to look at it, which I really wish I could take back. Because I don't like that they go on there and they think that they can just pick anything. And then if it's sold out or if it's gone or if it's not going to arrive in time, it's a whole thing. So probably pros and cons. She said that she feels like the Amazon age is still easier, but sometimes that's like I go to one store and I wish that it's either here or it's not. So good morning. I hope you guys are having a great month. We're halfway through anti-New Year, New Me. I know for us that I didn't put up a lot of posts last week, and Julian, same thing, about us doing the weekly programming because speaking of 2025, we had some of our street parking coaches in town and we were testing some of the stuff I'm about to talk about / filming some of the 2025 vault workouts of us doing them in their entirety. And I did 3 vault workouts last week. I made the joke on my Instagram stories that I feel like I was like doing quarterfinals or something, because there's the workouts we spend a lot of time creating really fun and challenging workouts for the vault anyway. But then when you're being filmed and the idea behind the filming is to demonstrate the level of intensity that we're looking for in the workouts. I think I did number 1. I know I did number 1. I think one of the ones that I did with Molly was number 7. And then I did another one that was like in between there. And that one was with DH. So of the 3 of them, I think that the one that I did with Molly was the most painful, but it's also because I have a rich history with trying to keep up with Molly. And that might've been part of it as well. So yeah, how is the anti-New Year, New Me? We're here today. You're not in the spirit this year of what, Christine? Christmas spirit? We're here today to talk about 2025. And I realize that we're still 2 weeks away from 2025. But what we're doing, we are so excited about. And it is because this will be our 9th year of street parking. Street parking, the very first post on the Instagram page went up somewhere in the first like 10 or so days of November in 2016. Our very first paid for workout was on January 1st of 2017. And 700 of you signed up in the first month, which is where Julian and I realized that maybe this thing was going to require us to be more responsible than we thought. It was kind of like a side hobby, a side thing to do, where we both had jobs and we just wanted to share some workouts that we were doing at home. And apparently a lot of people were interested even back then, even before COVID, of doing workouts at home or on the road or yeah, in their hotel rooms or whatever. And so here we are, going into our 9th full year. And this year we are going to do something that is different than what we have done ever before. And it's not a massive overhaul of what we do. The foundation, and this is one thing that I'm very proud of with our community, our program, our message, is that we have been, as funny as it sounds, very consistent. So consistency is key, has a thread, not just through what we're telling you guys about your fitness and nutrition, but in the way that we have presented it. And our belief in fitness has remained very consistent through all the phases of what's going on in the fitness industry. You know, we don't go with the flow. A couple of years ago, we had even like a shirt that we had made for our staff, which was the fish swimming against the tide. I think some other fishes have maybe turned around and are now going in our direction. And that's one of the things we've been talking about, is how many more offerings there are for online fitness, for even CrossFit style fitness for people who want to work out at home. And we were a little bit alone in that space when we first started, and now there's a lot. And so we continue to figure out ways that we can keep you guys engaged and continue to grow and deliver really what our goal is for you, and what I'm assuming most of our members have as a goal. And if not, they might be in the wrong place. And we've always been okay with saying that as well. So, which is just I want to be fit for my life. I want to be as healthy as possible. I want to be as fit as possible, with the caveat of I don't want it to take over my whole life. It's I want to be able to be that fit so that I can go learn how to snowboard, or I can take my care of my kids, or I can take care of my elderly parents, or I can travel and do the cool hike randomly, and I don't feel like I need to train for it. I can jump into a high rocks competition. I can jump into a local CrossFit competition. I can go play a pickup game of flag football on Thanksgiving. I can join a indoor soccer league. I can carry my freaking Costco boxes and not be exhausted or hurt myself. So these are like, this is the fitness that we're trying to deliver to you guys. And so as we've been doing the programming for 8 years, and as we've been heading into a brand new year, you know, even though the messaging is all about anti-new year, new me, you can start anytime. January really does give us an opportunity for a fresh start, and to really, all of us, whether we are conscious of it or not, are probably at some level thinking, what do I want for myself this year? What do I want for my family? What do I want for my personal growth? And like, what do I want to learn this year? What do I want for my fitness? What do I want for whatever other things are important to you in your life? And so really the January gives us that opportunity, and we're going to do something really cool. One of the reasons that we brought on Coach Danny and coaches Kariana and Bill are to help us with this whole thing that we're doing in 2025. And I know you guys are like, okay, can you just tell us what it is? So obviously we are going to have the 2025 vault. That's not going anywhere. I think this is year 6. Did we decide that, Jules? It's year 6 of the vault. He can either jump in and tell me, or comment and tell me. But yeah, I think this is year 6 of the vault. That is still happening. I don't want to say nothing new there. The workouts are always really cool. The message behind that's always consistent. Scores don't matter. You just can't miss. 6 months, 25 workouts. Santa can't give us the gift of gains and shreds. I am Santa. Ask my children. They know that now. And I am going to deliver the gift of gains and shreds, but it's going to take a little bit of unwrapping on your end. So 2025, what we've got, well, we have built a roadmap for the entire year. And instead of what we often do, which is kind of release it as it's coming up, I'm going to give it all to you. Thank you, Salvi. I'm going to give it all to you right now. Because I think that there's something, and many of you are probably minded like this, where you're like, I see and I know where we're going, and that gives me purpose. When I see the end and I see where we're going and I see what the route is to get there, some of us, like me, can follow the GPS, and I don't need to see the steps. I don't need to see the map. It's just take me one turn at a time. This is probably why I'm really good at just doing the workout of the day and not looking at the whole week. I also program it, so that probably helps. But here's where we're going in 2025. I got thinking about this idea of well-rounded fitness. And what do I need? So all those things that I just listed that I want to be able to go and do, this, that my health, feeling good, sleeping good, like participating in all those activities. What are the foundational things? And I know I've done some car chats recently, and if you haven't listened to those, I encourage it. Talking about the 10 general physical skills and talking about, CrossFit and all of that stuff. And so all of that, I didn't, 10 things is a lot. And so I thought, how can I break this into fewer categories that are just foundational, and that we can, as a community at Street Parking, focus on together to end up in 12 months from now, fitter, more well-rounded, and just in a better place than we are right now. And I got thinking about it, and I broke it into 3 foundational. Now, again, I'm going to use the word foundational because this is not at all encompassing. Go back to the other car chats for that stuff. But foundational, I broke it into 3 things. 1, to be physically fit and to be able to go and do all of that stuff and live our lives to the fullest. One of the most foundational things is that we need to be strong, that we need to have an element of strength, muscular, I'm talking physical strength. Number 2, we need to have endurance. So I need to be able to pick something up that's heavy and move my kid around and stuff, but I also need to, if I'm going to go for that hike, or I'm going to join that soccer league, or I'm going to learn how to snowboard, I'm going to need some endurance. Or even if I'm going to carry my heavy kid around the amusement park, I'm going to need some endurance. So strength and endurance both are very foundational for me. Now, the third one might surprise you. It's not a skill thing. It's not a coordination thing. It's not, but it's grit. It's, I need to be able to, when my brain is telling me this is too much, or my brain is telling me I don't want to do this, or I don't want to wake up, or it's too cold outside, or I don't think I can do another rep. Foundational to us being successful in our lives, both physically and in other ways, is this ability to not, I hate saying control the mind. It's okay to allow those thoughts to come in, but to make a choice and be able to do what you're trying to do in the circumstance that you're in. So we have built a roadmap in 2025 specifically as a community to focus on those things in different seasons of the year. So in January, February, and March, we are going to be in a series where our goal is to help you all build a foundation of strength. And I'm going to give you some more information about what that's going to look like here in just a second. January, February, March. In April, we're going to take a pause. Okay, so we're looking at like 12 weeks. Then in April, we're going to take a pause and do what we always do, which is Project April. And we have some fun things in store for that are new and we've never done before as well. Project April is where we're going to encourage you guys to use your dumbbells for a whole month to remind you that you don't need anything else, and that no matter where you go in the world, if you can find yourself a pair of dumbbells, you have everything you need to maintain and gain your fitness. After April, May, June, and July, we're going to focus together as a community in a series built on helping you build that foundation of endurance. And so you can sign up for the 5K. You can be confident that you can go for that hike. When you have to go in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport from one terminal to another terminal, or in Chicago, we were just stuck in the Chicago airport, and Julian wanted to get us, turning down my heater. Julian wanted to get us Starbucks, and it was like, well, the Starbucks is like all the way down there, and he had the endurance to go do that. So in May, June, July, that's what we're going to do. In August, I know that what you guys are used to, I'll tell you this, what you guys are used to in August is going to be different this year, and we're working on an idea for it still, but it's definitely going to be something new and different in August, where we come together as a community. September, October, November is when we're going to go into grit. Now, we did this a little bit this year with September and Rocktober. Kariana and Bill are working on a brand new Sisyphus Gauntlet type challenge and program and badge and all of that that will be released at some point in that 3-month period. And not all of that is specifically, this sun is super bright. Not all of that is specifically planned out as of yet, but we will be focusing those 3 months on building grit. Now, you guys know, and Jules, if you see any questions as I'm going along, just pop them in the thing so that I don't lose my train of thought. So you guys know that I'm very, well, some of you know that I'm very, I love storytelling. I am very much like a visual person. I like to have meaning attached to everything. I'm an Enneagram 4, for those of you guys that know that. And so all of this is great. And I'm going to talk through like what it's going to look like. All of this is great. But I needed to like we needed to attach a story to it, like we do with the vault or some of these other things. I needed to attach a symbol to all of this. And so Chris had actually, funny enough, he had designed a t-shirt that we were going to release in the winter essentials drop, and it had a bison on it, and he just thought it was cool. And that's kind of like, you know, the whole like Carhartt, Pendleton, it's very much a vibe right now. And I said, you know, the bison could potentially work for what we're doing in 2025. And lo and behold, you know, I was looking up characteristics of the bison, and I found, I'm not going to go through all of them like I did in our team meeting right now. Maybe I should. I don't have all of them in front of me right now. But the bison is this, there are bison in other countries, but the American buffalo, or the bison, number one, is an animal that was almost extinct and now is very, very prevalent. I believe you can find bison in all 50 states, where it literally was almost wiped off the face of the planet. So the bison are known in our country as a symbol of resilience and a symbol of strength. Now, when I looked up more about the bison, what you'll find is that they're really big animals. So they're very, very strong. Obviously, I think most of us would assume a bison is very strong. But what I didn't know is they actually have a ton of endurance, and they can just withstand really harsh conditions. And so I really liked that idea. So I told Chris, hold off on the bison, and maybe we can attach this to this whole roadmap of 2025. Well, that sent us down like a rabbit hole of, well, then we need an animal that's just for strength, and we need an animal that's just for endurance, and we need an animal that's just for grit. And so we've been playing around with that. So what you'll see in the theme of it all is it kind of looks like United States national parks, and this journey that we are on to become the bison. But we're going to pass through the bear, which represents strength. We're going to pass through the wolf pack, which represents endurance. And we're going to pass through one that we're really excited about, that bighorn sheep, the sheep that it makes no sense that they can like climb the sides of these cliffs with their little hooves, and they're way too big to be doing that, and they'll jump these giant leaps across these caverns, and they're just unafraid. And so we have all the animals, and the bighorn sheep is for grit. And eventually we're going to become the bison. I think was there a question? The penguin. I do love penguins. So the street parking members are becoming the bison this year. Now, I will say the 2025 vault doesn't align with this exactly, because the vault was planned before this whole bison story was created in mine and Chris's mind. But that's got its own theme, and it's going to be awesome as well. Before I move on from the bison, I did write down a few things, because if you are like me, I know that this pumps you up. And if you're just like, can you just tell us what it means that we're going to be focusing on strength, endurance, and grit? I am going to go through that next. But if you look up and if you Google like bison meaning, some of the things that you're going to find, and I wrote it down like really quick right before we went live today. Some of the things you're going to find is that they are known to be powerful, determined, and self-sufficient. I loved the idea of self-sufficient, because that in street parking speaks so much to control your fitness. It speaks so much to that I don't want any outside influence to take away that I can get my workout in, I can eat, what I know is best for me, and I want to be in control of those things. So I love that idea of self-sufficient. Some of the other things, a list of characteristics that you'll find are strength, and this was like all through searches: strength, endurance, abundance, survival, spirituality, freedom, which I'm wearing the fitness freedom shirt today, balance, adaptability, respect, and I really liked this one, discovery. Okay, so we're going to become the Bison in 2025, and we're going to start that in January by becoming the bear first. So the bear is known as one of the I think it's the yes, the brown bear here in the United States is known for its strength and just this powerful animal. So what we're going to do January, February, March is 1 day per week in the daily programming. You will find a more classic strength workout programmed. These workouts will be programmed every Wednesday. They have all been programmed by Coach Danny. He's going to be your host. It's Danny's strength class on Wednesdays, if you want to think of it that way. And what you'll find is, I say more classic strength, but it's not going to look like 5x5 back squat or 5x5 deadlift or anything like that. He's been very creative with it, keeping in mind all of the things that we do in our programming, always keeping in mind that some of you guys only have dumbbells. So there will be a version for that. Keeping in mind that many of you guys are on a tight time schedule. So options for if you have a full hour, but always an ability to focus on strength for that 1 day, even if all you have is 30 or 45 minutes to dedicate to that. There is a shift version of all of those workouts. And I'm not going to dive too deep into this because Danny and I did a podcast when he was here last week that we'll release later this week. So, no weakness Wednesday. I love that, Angela. That's so awesome. So on Wednesdays, every week, you'll find these. And it will be for 12 weeks. The very first one is programmed on January 8th, which is 2 days after the first vault workout is programmed. And what Danny was able to do is look at what the vault workout is each week and create a strength workout that will not have a lot of interference with what that vault workout just was. And our goal, it's not a linear progression either. So if you miss one, if sometimes you got to do dumbbell and sometimes you got to do barbell, this program is not linear, but it is varied enough. The movements that we're going to focus on are squat, deadlift, press, bench press with some other stuff mixed in that's going to help you with those, because what we're looking at is foundational strength. Now, of course, there's going to be a badge for each of these 3 sections: strength, endurance, and grit. But we're not going to limit it to that you have to do the Wednesday workout. So if you're somebody who's like, but I want to do a linear progression, this all sounds awesome, you can go in and do some of that other stuff. And all that information will come out. You can say, well, on Wednesdays, instead of doing the Wednesday daily strength that's programmed because I want to do a linear progression on Wednesdays for the next 12 weeks, I'm going to do 5-3-1, or I'm going to do starting strength. And it'll fit perfectly in there. So you can choose that, and all of that would go toward your badge. The additional thing that I'm really, really excited about is on either Friday or Saturday, and it kind of depends on what the daily workouts ended up being, there will be a heavy version of the daily workout. If you've been around long enough, if you're OG enough in CrossFit, think of like the old CrossFit football workouts. I used to love those because I was strong. I came into CrossFit strong from my bodybuilding background. And so where a workout might have a set of 10 power cleans at 95 and 65, the heavy version is going to have 3 power cleans at a heavier weight. And again, the exact loading doesn't matter, but it would be heavy for you. And so each Friday or Saturday, you'll get an opportunity for those 12 weeks to see how, and this is fitness freedom. Our main goal with the 3 sections, aside from delivering well-rounded fitness in 2025, is to show you guys how to do this on your own, how to add in extra programs on your own, where to fit them in, and how that all looks, and how you can tweak and change workouts. If you're like, I feel like going heavier today, I like this workout, but instead of 10 cleans, I'm going to do 3 and I'm going to do them heavier. These are things that Julian and I do all the time. And this year, we're going to give you an opportunity to peek behind the curtain of that a little bit and to do it all together. If we found anything through September, October, and November, it's that you guys are willing to do anything as long as we say, hey, let's all do it together. It's so funny. We doubled the number of people that had the Sisyphus Gauntlet badge just by saying we're going to do it together. So that program had been out for a year and a half. And I can't remember the numbers, but a certain number of people had completed it. And it's a big one to take on. And we doubled that number just by saying we're all going to do it together. So we're excited to help you guys build a foundation of strength. There's going to be a whole podcast that's related later this week, where Danny and I are talking about why you should care about it. Because if you're sitting there right now and you're thinking, well, I don't care how muscular I am. Actually, I don't want to be muscular. We talk about those misconceptions. We talk about, I don't care what my 1 rep max is, and I'm not trying to compete, and I just want to do my daily workouts and get sweaty. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we talk in that podcast about how important strength is for your aging, for your metabolism, for your performance in the other workouts. And so we really dive into that. So make sure you check out that podcast later this week. So every Wednesday and every Friday or Saturday through the months of January, February, March, you guys are going to have an opportunity to work and focus on your strength and building that foundation. We'll take a pause in April. We got plans for Project April. That's always a good time. And then we're going to come back. Oh, before I move on from the strength, in the programming, you guys will see the week after Christmas. So coming up here pretty soon, there are regular daily workouts programmed. But in the notes of those, you will find opportunities to do some testing. If you are the type of person that wants to see where you're starting when it comes to the strength, and then at the end of 12 weeks, retest some of those things to see where you've come, I'm big into that, at least choosing a couple of them. Not every day, but several days between like that week after Christmas up until January 8th, when the first strength workout is programmed, will be in the notes. Hey, go, there's a new extra program that are strength tests. Some of them are as simple as like a 3 rep max deadlift followed by 70% reps at 70%. There's several barbell ones that are like that, but we also included some dumbbell strength tests for those of you guys that only have dumbbells. So check that out, and that will be an extra program. It's not in there yet. I don't know when it will be there. Hopefully soon. We filmed all of it, I think. And by the time it's time for you guys to log that stuff, it will definitely be there. So, oh, sounds like I'm treating myself to a bench and a rack this Christmas. Yes, this is also why we wanted to do this podcast with enough lead time. You guys have about 3 weeks to, if you've been like thinking, oh, eventually I want to get a barbell, or eventually I want to get a squat rack. This is me telling you that I give you permission to do that for yourself for Christmas so that you can participate. Again, the dumbbell version is amazing. It's great and will build strength as well. Make sure you check out the podcast with Danny because we talk about that. Moving into May, June, and July, it will be very similar format, but we're going to be working on endurance. Now, I know if you're like me, you're like, that sounds awful and horrible and terrible. But I know that for me personally, and I'll just share from my own personal fitness journey, when I started CrossFit, I came from a bodybuilding background and I came from a dance background. So I had a foundation of strength and I was very coordinated. I never played sports growing up though. I did 1 season of track in high school, but the events that I ran were the 200 and the 400, so they were short. And so I struggled very heavily throughout my entire CrossFit career with being behind when it came to endurance. Now I know that this is not about competing, and I had enough endurance, to kind of live my life. But my mile time when I started CrossFit, I think was like 9 minutes, and I was in my 20s. And by the time I finished it, my mile time was just under 6.5. And I remember the first time I broke 8 minutes on a mile, I cried. And I cried because it took a lot of work for me to do that. And I remember when I used to drive to the track, and DH, you were there on some of these track sessions. When I would drive to the track, I disliked it so much that I would sometimes get emotional on the way there, and I didn't want to go at all. And the reason that I'm telling you this is not sounding promising for those of you guys that hate it, is that what overcoming that did for me, and the confidence that was built when I didn't suck at something that I sucked at so bad and it wasn't as painful as it used to be, what was life-changing for me way outside of fitness. This type of training, the endurance type of training, can be very mental. Now, you talk to someone like Cariana, and she goes for a run just to like clear her mind. And some of you guys are going to really love it for that. Anyone that's interested or wants to be able to, at the drop of a hat, go do a high rocks, go join a soccer team, go learn how to surf, go. The endurance piece is very, very huge for all of that. And again, there's benefits that are specific to our cardiovascular health and our metabolism and all of that. But I think, you know, the endurance piece, it will be very similar. That obviously hasn't been programmed yet, where there will be one day a week where there's an opportunity to just focus on that. And then there will be one day a week where we will build it into a daily workout more than we normally would. So again, and I see Brian saying, I can't wait to see my mile time will be as a 45-year-old. We'll do some testing before that, and we'll do some testing afterwards, and see where you're at. The strength stuff will come in and help you guys with those workouts. The amount of power that you'll have in like sprinting to the finish, all of that stuff will carry over. And now we'll be tying those two things together. And then in August, it's not entirely fleshed out yet, but we are planning something really, really fun and new when it comes to a team challenge for street parking. And so I'm not going to dive into that too much because there's a lot of time between now and then, but just know that we have some really fun stuff planned in that it's still forming. It's still in the ideation process. And finally going into grit, we're talking with Cariana and Bill about, you know, things that we can do that are similar to the Sisyphus Gauntlet. I know you guys, we also had those between the ears workouts that were once a week. And we're, you know, talking about how we can use stuff that just requires grit, where you don't have to think about it too much, and it's just grimy and you're just pushing and it's uncomfortable in a new way than your normal workouts are. And so September, October, and November, we'll be focusing heavily on that piece. And I was talking, and this is shared in the podcast with Danny as well, but I think it's such a good visualization for what we're trying to do in 2025 with you guys. If you take the workout, and I always use this example because so many people automatically know what it is, but you take the famous of all famous CrossFit workouts, Fran, which is just thrusters and pull-ups. That's all you really need to know. And it's, you know, people can do this workout in like 2 minutes. If you take 3 people, and you could have 3 people that finish that workout in 5 minutes. Okay, so that's a very respectable time where you have to have a certain level of fitness to be able to do that. And you could look at person number 1, and as you're watching them, what you could see is that the reason that their time isn't faster than 5 minutes is the barbell got heavy for them. And I've seen this. I've personally run this workout probably 300 plus, well, I know 300 plus times because of all the seminars that I worked in. So I've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of people do this workout. And there's one type of person that you can see that came in to the seminar or to the workout with a good level of endurance. That's not a mental issue, but the barbell just simply got heavy for them. So that person needs to increase their strength to be able to do that workout more efficiently and faster. You can look at the second person, and maybe this person is super strong and they came into CrossFit similar to me, and they had a good basis of strength. And it's not that the barbell's too heavy. They never look like they're in danger of failing a rep or struggling with a rep, but you can see very clearly that their heart is about to explode out of their chest. So they stop simply because they feel like they're going to pass out. That person could really benefit from building a stronger foundation, a deeper foundation of endurance. Okay. And then you look at the third person and you're like, this person, the barbell doesn't look too heavy for them. They're still talking, but in their mind, they think that this is as hard as they can go. That person could move quicker if they develop some mental grit. Okay. Mental strength is thrown around so much these days, which is why we're using the term grit. They need some bighorn sheep in their lives. And so each of us are in different stages with those 3 things. But if we can develop those things, and we're going to spend 2025, 12 weeks at a time, focusing on those things and bringing them all together by the end of the year, we're looking at a more well-rounded fitness where at least we get to touch on those things in a way that is much more structured than we have done in street parking in the past. We've always taken those things into consideration along with the other 7 general physical skills, but we've never as a group said, hey, for this chunk of time, let's focus on this. As a group for this chunk of time, let's do this thing together. And as a group for this chunk of time, let's do this thing together. So all of the daily workouts on the other days look exactly the same. You could very easily, if this all sounds not like something that you want to do, just not do the Wednesday workout. You could use Wednesday as your rest day. You could pull from the extra programs. You could be doing endurance all year long and just skip the strength workouts. It's fitness freedom. The rest of the daily workouts, the vault, all of that is not impacted by any of this at all. And if you've looked through Street Parking's programming, oftentimes on Thursday, you would see a workout that is a little bit lower intensity and a more of a strength focus. And we've put workouts that are more endurance focused in. So it's not that we haven't sprinkled the stuff in a more varied way, but we're going to really hone in on each area and see how it goes for you guys, see how it goes for us. And we're super excited about it. Right now is a great time to ask questions, because now I'm just going to start diving into a few other little notes with the sun blaring in my face. So ask your questions. Julian will pop them up for me if he sees them, or I'll try to keep my eyes on them. We are going to become the bison. We are going to, take the spirit of the bear. We're going to take the spirit of the wolf and, together build that endurance. We're going to take the fearlessness of that bighorn sheep, and we're going to become the bison in 2025. I should tell Chris to get the t-shirts ready today, because you guys will be fired up. The vault, we're going to be doing some new things with the vault. In the day that it will be released, it will still be programmed on Monday. In the day that it will be released will be different. I need to, and I probably should have done that before this podcast, I need to get with Kim and the team to solidify that. But I believe we're going to switch the messaging for the vault to never miss a Monday, which has always been programmed on Monday. I believe the plan is to release it on Monday and give you guys all through the next Sunday night to log it. So that's a little bit of a difference there. But the vault, the workouts are amazing. I'm super excited about the theme of it, and can't wait to show you guys that. I did the podcast with Molly, that if you guys haven't checked that one out, we talked all about street parking nutrition headed into 2025. She is going to be doing a straight up, this is not a fitness challenge, a straight up nutrition challenge in January. For those of you that are interested in overhauling maybe some stuff that you got going on right now, or just getting, off on the right foot. So check out that podcast and keep your eyes peeled. But she wants to get back to doing nutrition challenges, right? When we started street parking, our nutrition challenges were very intense, to the point where we were like limiting things like red wine vinegar. And I don't remember that, but there must have been a reason for it. And they were very intense. And then when the world became a little bit more sensitive, and when we got a bunch of new members all at once, we softened them a little bit too much. So we're course correcting the nutrition stuff this year, and we're going to do some challenges that are more challenging than maybe you've been used to if you've only been a member for a few years, that are not for everyone all the time, but for the people who are ready to focus on that stuff. She's got some good stuff planned. Check out that podcast, because we do talk about that, but there is one coming up in January for those of you that want. As well as some new nutrition programs, those 30-day programs that will be coming out, and resources. And she wants to do more education around nutrition on top of the recipes, but education around nutrition. Danny and Carlene and I are working on some more resources for any of you that might be a trainer or a coach or a gym owner, and bringing more stuff to you guys. We are in some testing phases of some of that stuff. So if that applies to you, just keep your eyes peeled for that. And you can email into coaches@streetparking.com if you have more questions about that. Last year we had over 100 gyms participate in the vault, and we're hoping to invite gyms back to participate again, and add some new gyms to it. Because I know a lot of you guys use both street parking and you're members of your gyms, and bringing those two things together, it's never been a conflict of interest for us. Our goal is to help elevate fitness in every area, regardless of where it is that you choose to work out. Um, and meetups. I don't have official information on meetups, and I think some of you guys, based on my post yesterday, were hoping that I was just going to give you a list of meetups. We don't have all of that nailed down right now, but I see one of the things that I really loved seeing, especially in September, was the local meetups that you guys put on. There were a ton of them. It contributed to the sense of community. You guys, do not wait for us to show up in your town to get together with other street parking members. We want to encourage you guys in 2025 more than any other year to get together, say, hey, we're going to do the vault workout together, or hey, come over to my house and let's do a strength session. Or, you know, during the summertime, let's do some of these endurance running workouts together. Let's sign up for freaking High Rocks together. Let's sign up for this CrossFit competition together. Let's sign up for this local 5K, or let's build a, whatever it is. We encourage you guys. And if you can reach out to Caitlin at streetparking.com or apparel at streetparking.com, she is always there with resources for you guys, and wants to support these meetups, because you guys can do so much more than we can do as one team, especially because Julian and I have 3 little children. So it's hard for us to travel too much to come see all of you. And we want you guys getting together. It is so powerful when street parking members get together. It's this, well, I know that Cindy, who lives 2 hours away, but I met her at the meetup, I have her phone number now, or I know that she's also struggles with this thing, or, oh, like I met people that are just like me, and I know that they're all out doing the workout today too. And so I can do it. There's just a connection that can be made. Mur has mentioned High Rocks a lot. I mentioned it only twice, I feel like. But I mean, Julian asked me if I wanted to do High Rocks with him. Caitlin's like literally right here. She pulled up in the street parking van and she's waving at me. He said that he wanted to do it with me. I said that I'm a liability because he's still a much faster runner than me. But maybe after we do the endurance, we could do that. Yeah, so we'll have some new, we need a big Tillamook meetup again. Yes, we do. We are very close to Tillamook and we haven't been up there for a while. So maybe soon we can do that when it's not so cold. We'll have some new extra programs coming out that will align with this thing. I think I saw a comment or a question. Kelly, the idea with the vault, I see this question about, I'm most worried about the vault change. I'm a 5 times finisher and moved cheese will be an adjustment. You will still have a weekend, so that we wanted to still give you a weekend to do it. So hopefully that will be, you'll still have the same amount of time and you'll still have a weekend, because we know a lot of you guys like to try to get that stuff in on the weekend. I want this, but I get intimidated for crazy busy life days. This should not take any more time. And again, that's especially with the strength workouts. I know for sure because they've all been created. Even if you only have 30 minutes, you will have enough time to bite off enough of a piece of that it will make a difference. So don't be worried about that. Is the idea that we all cycle through each animal, or to focus on one where we need the most work? Allison, your question, that's the one I was looking for. The idea is that we're all going to go through this together, and you will find one that you are way more confident in or way more competent in than the others, or maybe 2 of them you're feeling really good, and one of them, like for me, it would be endurance, that it's not as comfortable for me. But it's all about being well-rounded, and I have a strong belief that fitness should not just be you punishing yourself and doing all the stuff that you suck at all the time, because it takes the joy out of it. It takes the life out of it. So if you're somebody who enjoys strength training and you're strong, be amped and love that part of the year, and then commit to, when we get to the endurance, like, I know this part's going to be very challenging for me. It's not as fun. I love my barbell. I love my, heavy days, but I'm gonna focus on a weakness of mine for this period. And then, the grit stuff is uncomfortable for all of us, but some of us love it a little bit more than others. So the idea is to make sure that we're not siloing ourselves into one area of fitness that's either what we are already really good at, or the thing that we think we suck at, so we think we have to do all the time. I hope that answers your question on that one. This is coming at a great time, needing to work on mental toughness and endurance. Let's go. Same. I haven't been doing, I did endurance on ramp maybe like a year ago, but I haven't been doing a lot of endurance stuff. The Rucktober stuff felt very endurance-y to me in a way. So that was good, but I'm excited to do that. Caitlin wants to do a high rocks. She wants to do a high rocks because the number of Hoka shoes that she has at this point is just ridiculous. Please just remind people that endurance isn't just running. You're so right. It's not just going to be a running workout. There's going to be very creative ways to train endurance. I'm not going to sell it to you that there's not going to be maybe more of a cyclical run, row, bike type element during that time. But it's not just about running. And maybe this is permission for you now for Christmas or in the springtime to get yourself a rower or a bike or something like that, a C2 bike, if you know that you're going to want to use one of those things for some of the endurance workouts. Yeah, that's all that I have for you guys today. It's all that I wanted to announce to you, is that we're going on this journey together. We're going to take off on the map and we're going to visit all these locations. We're going to camp there for a little bit. We're going to really experience it. We're going to build that foundation, and then we're going to move to the next spot and we're going to camp there for a little bit, and we're going to experience what that has to offer us and to deliver to us in our fitness, in our mental side, in our belief that we have in ourselves, in the way that it brings our community together. And then we'll move to the next thing and do the same thing. And we're just really excited that we have the ability to give you guys just a picture of the whole year to look forward to, and an idea of a destination that we have in mind. It's like, again, it's not that much different on paper when you look day to day at the workouts, but there's more structure to it than we've ever done in street parking before. And one of the reasons is that as we head into year 9, we have, I don't know the exact number, but hundreds of members who have been with us the whole time, and thousands that have been with us for 5 years or more. And you guys have developed a base level of consistency now, and you're ready to have more of a roadmap. Now, of course, we'll have new members come in, and new members, they can jump in anywhere. So we ask you guys to help us. If a new member jumps in, the reason why we didn't make the strength program a linear program is because if I join in the first week of February, I can jump in right where I'm at. If I join in the middle of the endurance stuff, I can jump in right where I'm at. And so we want to show you that it doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need calculators and percentages and all of this and that to train strength. You don't need all of the fancy equipment and all the time in the world and just 10 miles and miles and miles of running to develop endurance. You don't need this elaborate program that takes you away from the type of workouts, the street parking workouts that you love, that takes you away from doing workouts like the vault or your CrossFit style workouts or the devil presses and all that stuff that's fun. You don't need to put all of that on the shelf in order to focus on strength. You don't need to put all of that on the shelf in order to focus on endurance and go completely to do another program. You don't need to do that. What you can do is plop out one day a week to focus on that thing that you are being intentional about at the time, and can keep doing the other stuff that really delivers those high intensity functional movements, constantly varied. Those deliver a well-rounded fitness, and then you can just plug in a little bit of a focus on the side to improve in those 3 areas. And that's really what we're looking to do. And I hope that you guys have fun with it. I hope that you look forward to it, that you don't overthink it, and that you really take this opportunity to maybe do some things that you've never done in your training before, or it's been a really long time. And I know for me, even testing these strength workouts, it's been a while since I've been very consistent with that type of training, and it's been really fun for me. And very quickly, even as somebody who has a very deep base of strength training, I saw results in the weights that I was able to move and how I felt, and even, you know, some stuff with my body pretty quickly by doing those and testing those workouts. So we're really excited about it. Jules, I don't know if you have anything to add, because I know you're listening. I think you are in your truck right over there. Oh,
I'm
no,
not
he's
in
in
my
the
truck anymore.
Starbucks.
Yeah, but I don't have my pod, so I feel very vulnerable, exposed, naked. It's kind of like, you know, I would
It's not that
say,
loud.
okay, good. Okay. I would say one of the things that popped up, and I'd be curious, and this is more of me and you, this is how we come up with our ideas. A swimming question got brought up
Hmm.
for, I'd be curious to see if we had somebody who's like a swimming coach be able to convert all the
I
endurance.
would,
Because we do.
I would, I'm pretty confident, and I don't know if Danny's on here because of the number of athletes that he's trained and where he lives, that he would be unable, because we have that option now in the endurance programming. It's just time based, um, versus like meters. Swimming is an interesting one, right? Because like what might take you 30 seconds to swim is going to take me, not you personally, Julian, because you're also not the best swimmer, but like somebody who's a really good swimmer, like my friend Jen, she might be able to do something in 30 seconds in a swim that takes me a minute and a half. There's so much technique and comfortability, way more than like a jog, way more. But I think I would be, I'm pretty confident that Danny is somebody, because of the number of athletes that he's trained, who could do something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. And obviously, I saw here it's a 4-to-1 ratio, which makes total sense.
Hmm.
Yeah. As far as
Mine's like
everything
a
else goes,
mine's
yeah,
like an
that
8-to-1 ratio. Just getting
yeah,
across the pool.
but mine's like and mine's like even worse than that. We're just so heavy. Yeah, I'm excited for this year, and again, the biggest thing is take the time to really, especially as we go into like the strength track. One of the biggest things we always keep bringing up is our community is aging with us, right? So making sure the importance of not thinking that the numbers you held on to 6 years ago are the same numbers that you've held on to now, right? So make a recalibration as to what is realistic, even for your endurance, your strength, and everything else that we've hit. Um, so that's one of them. Um, what else?
Yeah, and it's kind of like once we get into those cycles, it can be tempting to like go, those of us that have that addicted and competitive background can get sucked into, well, I need to be able to do what I used to do. Like we're going to be reminding you guys constantly what we're doing this for, which is just for you to have a high quality of life. And we're going to do our best to not let you get sucked back into that whole scene.
Yes. Um, what else? I would say I'm excited for the vault. I really am, as we've been filming the workouts and testing them, and as we start to get ready to hint at what the hints are already going out. The hints have already, there's already Easter eggs out there for the vault, which is really cool. I did see Caitlin was going to follow up with concept two. I agree. Like if I were doing an endurance track, either the concept two bike erg or the rower would be something that I would entertain, because the running, as you know, both you and I, like our ankles, our knees, or something, and just that kind of volume. So going back to the high rocks question, since it's all running, that's actually something we've thought about, but just it's all running, so it doesn't seem as entertaining.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I, as somebody who's done a lot of endurance training with running and rowing, when we get to that endurance portion, I will probably mix those two things. Running specifically because it's such a weakness that I know I avoid it, so I will use that time to not avoid it. But also, when I we used to do I mean, we have the rowing program. If you guys have never looked at it, it's nuts. But that's the type of rowing that we used to do when I was training to compete, and the way that it impacts your engine is just phenomenal. So if you are considering getting one of those machines, I cannot speak highly enough about a rower.
Would you ever do a whole endurance track on a ski erg?
I don't think so. No, I just don't. So here's the thing, like I can get into a flow state with running and rowing. Rowing easier than running, because running, I just, there's something about it to me that my body just wants me to stop the entire time I'm doing it. I don't think I could ever get into like a meditative state on the ski erg.
Yeah, no way, right?
No.
No.
Street
Cool.
parking speedos?
Nope.
Whatever.
Nope.
Budgie smugglers.
I don't know. I would say that's about it. Um, we're excited for all you guys that are gearing up for year six with us when it comes to the vault. But in general, going on year 9 of street parking, which has been wild. Like we've almost been like, I think Christine's been a member since the beginning. So like we've seen Christine age a decade almost. Like
No,
that's
she
weird
still
to
looks the
think.
same.
That's weird to think about. Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, if any of you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask. Um, well, I think we'll log off in about another 60 seconds if there isn't any other big questions. But yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, we're excited about it, you guys. Help us spread the word.
Oh, that's another thing. We talk about the Born Primitive shoe.
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to talk about the
I
Born
don't think
Primitive
I mean,
shoe.
I think we can kind of do whatever we want at this point, since we were committed to it. But yeah, just keep your eyes tuned for January 1st. I'm really excited. Obviously, we got to do a fun little work collab with Born Primitive. But yes, if you guys are in the market for shoes, just wait. Just wait until the first.
I do really like the shoes. I have 2 pairs of them now because of the testing of them and then the photo shoot shoes, and that's pretty much all that I wear when we're working out now. And I do really, really like the shoes. I have a couple teasers for you guys. One teaser is keep your. I'm interested to see how Nelson is going to edit this. But in the very first vault workout of 2025, the reality of what street parking is, and what so many of us live in, is highlighted in a really funny way when Julian and I were trying to film the 2025, the very first workout. And I just thought it was really funny because I was like, I don't know how Nelson's going to
Oh
edit
my
this.
gosh, that's yeah. I had that thought too. And we're like, wow, this
I was
was
like, but I'm
new.
not doing it again.
Yeah, we're not doing it again. No, 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 no.
Somebody asked when we're going to release the theme of it,
When we're releasing the what?
the theme of the 2025 vault. They don't know it yet.
You guys know how we like to tease things, so it's coming soon. Okay.
Yeah.
Stuff is running along.
If you guys would like us to release the Bison shirt, just email into apparel at streetparking.com. If you're so fired up about the Bison and you feel like, oh, I need a Bison hoodie or a Bison shirt, Caitlin, how many emails do you need in order to make that happen? Because I know you're on here.
Or here's an honest question: are we like, where are you guys as far as like apparel? I feel like we all have such a vast apparel wardrobe when it comes to street parking. Like, is there any other things that you guys see out there that are like, hey, this is a really cool little gadget, like a keychain or a lanyard or like a hat, like, or is shirt or like is apparel just the thing to do? Like, are we not tired of apparel? You know, I always have that question for the members.
I mean, I like to cycle through it though.
We
It's
got to
like
cycle for it.
memorabilia.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like memorabilia at this point.
so
Um,
yeah,
yeah, that shoe is coming up. Oh, never mind. I'll say what I was gonna say when the shoe promotion comes out. I'm a little nervous about what I'm gonna look like in those photos, and you know why. So
what did you say?
I'm nervous for how I'm gonna look in the Born Primitive shoot that we did.
Because of the workout?
No, because I had to go the night before and I had 30 minutes to buy all new makeup and I also had a spray tan. So I feel
Right.
if I look orange in my face and specifically in the Born Primitive photos and in the Born Primitive videos, it's because the airline lost our luggage and at 7 o'clock at night, the night before the photo shoot and the video shoot, I had to go to Ulta in Virginia and try to replicate all of my makeup. But the place on my like hand and my wrist that I was testing colors on had just gotten spray tanned. So I
Oh
feel
no.
like even my face is going to look very orange. I'm very interested to see how it turns out.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, yeah, that's it. I think we can cut this. We can end this live here today.
Okay. Well, share the news with everybody on Facebook and on Instagram. Just start posting random bisons until somebody figures out what's going on. I would love to hear from you guys, like which animal you resonate with currently. Are you currently the bear? Are you currently the wolf? Are you currently the bighorn sheep? I don't know which one I would be. I'll have to think about that. But we're gonna put it all together and become the bison this year.
Awesome. All right,
Okay.
take care, guys. We'll check in with you all soon.
Sloth.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.